Hey guys, Fergal from Poker VIP here. Welcome to part 3 of our cash game series over on HighStakes Poker. So we're going to be keeping the same format. We have bumped up the stakes of one of our tables. We're playing 50 NL over on the left hand table, still 25 NL on the right. And other than that though, we're going to be following the exact same format. We're just going to be playing some hands, talking through our thought processes as each and every situation arises. And we are off to a wonderful start. So we 3-bet the king and the jack. We flop top 2, which is just delightful. We're going to start this off with a c-bet of just under half pot. Going to get a reasonable number of folds here, but we want to start building the pot immediately. If he does have a king, we want to make sure we build the pot. Going to have hands like ace queen, ace 10, potentially queen 10 suited, stuff like that, we all want to start charging. Particularly the kind of queen 10 suited, even though they're going to be less likely. And you know, there's no point in allowing free equity, so we're looking to build a pot. Hopefully we just cooler them with a hand like, you know, if he slow played ace king or king queen. But unfortunately he just went for the snap fold, but we'll still take the victory. Always fun 3-betting a little bit loosey goosey and flopping top 2. King 7 suited, we are going to bring it in for an open over on the right hand table. Pretty happy if we just take these down without a fight, but if we just get called, that's absolutely fine. We get to play a flop in position, which is always good. But we do just take down the blinds. So this is not a direct follow-on from parts 1 and 2. We had to finish up after we recorded part 2, so this is a brand new session, brand new players. So we're going to be building up our reads. So similar to the first group of sessions in 1 and 2, we have a short stacker over here that we're going to note immediately. We have a mobile player over here, which we're going to note immediately. Over on the right table, everyone's full stacked, which is always good to see as well. It means that there's that bigger chance. While the players might tend to be a little bit stronger overall, it's far from guaranteed. And there's just that higher possibility for bigger pots, which is always good. Jack 6, we're obviously getting a good price here, almost 4 to 1, but it's still just going to be a fold. And we will monitor the action as it goes. So not a huge amount. Oh, on the left table, a bet and a call on the ace high board. Definitely some potential for a pot to brew here. If both of these, the chances of this guy getting all in by the river are relatively high. If Den has any kind of hand at all. He just gives up though with the check and the fold. So I believe he opened pre, bet the flop, and then just went for the check fold after he got called. So we will note that for future hands. Tends to potentially, I mean obviously it's just a singular sample, so it's impossible to extrapolate a huge amount, but potentially the kind of player that's going to stab a reasonable number of flops and then give up on turns. So always worth noting. And he's actually at both of our tables, which is also worth noting. And we have a second mobile player, I think, has just joined. I don't think they were there the whole time. Pocket fours, this sort of sucks because this guy is just so short. Usually I like to have 20 to 1 implieds. Given that he is a shorter stack, we're more likely to be able to get all the money in, so we're going to go ahead and go for the flat. Unfortunately, we get squeezed out of the pot. And no, even with the additional money, we are still just going to fold. That is, okay, never mind. It's just a jam. Makes sense. Okay, ace queen just decides to run it on the king high board just for, why not just get it all in pre? If you're going to be calling off the king 9-7, just get it all in pre. Also, I don't know what I feel like. That sucks that guy left. I feel if you are ever going to slow play a hand, then that's a pretty okay opportunity to do it. Just encourage some spaz 8s from the shorter stacked. It's definitely something that I see happen quite a lot. Short stackers don't know what to do with low SPRs and they just decide to, well, he checked, so I might be able to get him to fold, so they just stick their money in. And like realistically, he's not going to struggle to get the money in anyway on later streets, so I think if Nephew checks there, it's going to be slightly better than jamming. I mean, obviously he got paid either way, but overall, I mean, ace queen can definitely potentially fold there. Probably should. Excuse me. 3-9 suited, just going to be a fold. as is the 3-7 offsuit, of course. Really upset to see that guy not rebuy. It would have been delightful if he had. Okay, ace king the big, always fun. We're going to be going for the cold 4-bet here. Once Netanelis decides to make up their mind. 975 seems like an okay size to me. And ace queen, I would just take it down without a fight. Ace queen, absolutely going to be ISOing the limper. Anyone who opens limps tends to be on the weaker side, so we'll keep an eye on Justin, see if that read rings true. Mandarin called out of position, which we're okay with. Pretty awful board. The limp calling range here can definitely have hit this relatively hard. The overcalling out of the small blinds range can have hit this quite hard as well. Not a board I'm going to be c-betting here. We've very little backdoor potential, just a weak backdoor straight draw. But yeah, these guys can have most of the sets. This guy maybe not have all the sets. 9s and 10s can potentially just decide to flat there rather than, like, the limp caller is unlikely to do that though. Ace 5 suited, we're going to go for the ISO, and we're just going to be checking this down. Not a board I am really planning on doing much with the ace queen. Mobile player limp folding like that, excellent news to have on our right. Hopefully he sticks around for the session. And queen 10 suited, we're going to bring this in for an open from mid position. Cutoff calls, not amazing news for us, but we shall see what the flop brings. Pretty good board. We're going to start this off with a c-bet. Bet for the value, deny some equity. Half pot seemed fine on this board. Not a board we're going to be going particularly crazy on. Pretty okay getting this fold, getting to play the rest of the pot in position no matter what happens is pretty good results. We get the 2 folds, not an ideal result when we have top pair, but again, far from a disaster. Okay, new player at the table, I'm assuming, yeah, he would have just posted rather than limped. Also worth noting, the people that post in these games tend to probably not be on the regular side as well. Versus the ISO, we're just going to fold. But yeah, in general, if you're playing the reg tables over speed tables, always wait for your blinds. It's incredibly unprofitable just posting. I mean, I know it's only one hand and one orbit, but it's, you know, it's a game of small edges. And if you post from under the gun, I mean, just wait one hand. Why just give up equity and lose, you know, what's likely going to be somewhere around half a big blind in equity? Queen tray, we're going to fold. Ace 3, we get a walk, which is a-okay with me. 8-9 suited in the small, definitely some potential to get up to some shenanigans. We have another mobile player join the fray and also a poster, which is just delightful. 7-4 suited, after the post, we're going to go and attack. We're going to ISO. And 8-9 suited, Strayzob is one of the regular players from what I gather, so 3-betting definitely an option, flatting definitely fine too, and not a particularly good board, just the backdoor flush draw to go along with our 9 high. We're just going to be check folding here. And the poster has just folded, which is fine. We pick up an extra euro odd uncontested. Ace 10 offsuit, bringing it in for the open from the cutoff, and jack tray we will fold. Take down the blinds uncontested, fine result for ace 10. King queen, lather rinse repeat. And haven't seen too much of anything really at this table so far. It's been no particularly large pots. The only pot of note was that I can recall, at least anyway, it was the ace king versus the ace queen. And the ace queen player has elected to leave. Again, really bad board. Favors MK Whiskey a lot more than it favors us. We're going to be doing a lot of checking here. Going to continue checking. Kind of surprised to see him not stab when check 2 on this flop. Just pots it now. Okay. But the really sucky thing is there is that they could potentially just be bluffing with the best hand as well. Like just be bluffing like ace eyes potentially. But that's okay. Bad board for us. It's okay just to give up. Jack trace suited, we will defend versus the min open. Absolutely, we don't really fold suited cards. Flop bottom pair, we have the backdoor flush draw. We're certainly not going to be folding this board just yet. Start this off with a check and a call. One of the better turns for us that doesn't improve our hand. Spade would have been pretty good, obviously, but the jack tray is, you know, the lower the card, the better, essentially. Facing the double barrel, he has sized up, which is worth noting. I'm going to go ahead and fold here. The sizing up has convinced me to believe our villain here. And we're going to go for an optimistic raise, given that this player has limp folded before. We're going to get to play in position against him anyway. It's a little bit dicey here for sure with the queen deuce, but I think it's going to be better than just checking with this trashy a hand. Worth noting as well, I expect villain to play relatively straightforward post flop more often than not, as they just lead out for pot on the 3-3-5. I mean, whatever, okay. We give it up, no harm, no foul. We give him a euro, but whether they ended up having it there or not, or whether we got bluffed, I mean, we can't really say we got bluffed with queen high, but you know what I mean, whether he just decided to lead because he figured we're gonna have missed a decent amount, then maybe my read is wrong. But in general, people that are doing a lot of limping, they don't tend to get too tricky post flop either, so I'm okay with that. Definitely not my standard play with the queen deuce though. It's just given our read that the player is going to be on the more passive side, that we've seen them limp fold already, and that generally the more passive players tend to play pretty straightforwardly post flop. It allows us to play really well in position against them, so I'm okay with that line. 6-4 suited, we're just going to fold facing under the gun open. 7-4 offsuit on the cutoff, no good. Ace-4 offsuit, potential for a 3-bet here. Or a flat. Both seem reasonable. Folding an ace versus a cutoff open does not. I am going to go for the 3-bet. We take it down without a fight. No fuss, no muss. Nice, nice, nice. Definitely the desired result there. And pocket fours, we're going to go for the raise. Excuse me. Ace queen in the 15L game. Absolutely going to be raising it up if folded to. Again, pretty poor board all around for us. Been a lot of the low boards when we have the high cards. We definitely have a reasonable amount of showdown here. I'm happy just to take it. Unfortunately, they got there on the river. 9-10, obviously we could have probably gotten them to fold with a flop bet, which would have been good, but if he has 9-10, he's also going to have a lot of other hands that have gut shots to go with overcards, that have open-enders, and obviously a large number of pairs as well. Their pairs, I am kind of surprised not to see him bet the 10. Seems way too nitty. But, like, I mean, I would have probably called, to be honest, with the ace-queen. But, hey, we're not going to be upset about people playing in a way that saves us money. Okay, Mandarin 8 goes for the 3-bet. We're certainly not folding the ace-queen. Let's take a flop. Not a particularly good one. We've been very bad at flopping pairs so far this session. Table hasn't been particularly 3-betty so far. We're going to go ahead, give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. Pocket 10s in the 50NL game, we'll take that. Going to be bringing it in for a 3-bet, and we will be 3-betting Den 1990 if they go for the open as well. Take it down without a fight with the ace deuce. Again, a fine result. Let's see what goes down with the pocket 10s. Again, we take it down without a fight. Pocket 7s here. This guy opens. This guy, worth noting, short stacking as well as posting. And ace king. So two very playable hands on each table we like. We're just going to call, go set mining with the 7s. And 3-bet the ace king. No 7. One of the better boards for pocket 7s, but against 3 opponents, not particularly fantastic, to be perfectly honest. Queen, not a very good card for us, but we are still going to wager. We're just going to bet out like a 3rd pot here, just protect our hand a little bit. That's a really good card for us. We take the lead versus ace queen. We're in really rough shape versus king queen. 10 jack, a bit of a consideration. And over here we get check raised. We're happy enough just to give this up. And we take it down with the ace king. So pretty okay turn for us. Obviously worked out well. Wouldn't have minded a little bit more action, of course, but that's fine. Very coordinated board. Very bad for us yet again. Feels like we're saying the same thing about a lot of these boards, which sucks. Gets even more coordinated, and unfortunately the 10 gets there again. So this is a concept that a lot of people go for. They want to bet their hand for protection. When we have very reasonable showdown value, it's not a principle I buy into. If we're betting for protection, like, I mean, realistically we only need to fade 6 outs. There on that specific board, I guess there's more that we need to fade, but 6 outs isn't that many. Whereas they can have good shots and stuff like that to go along with overcards, and occasionally we have them in rougher shape than that. We're never ever getting called by worse realistically, save a very heroic ace high call with the worst kicker. So yeah, I'm okay. Obviously we've gotten unlucky twice in those kind of spots now where they have hit their 6-outer on the river, but sometimes that happens and that's okay. Pot controlling and not allowing villain to get up to any shady shenanigans. There is merit to that. We protect, and it's a hand that we can consider calling down on streets as well with just our ace high, with a very decent ace high. So we do encourage some bluffs. We have a bit of a pot brewing over on the left-hand table. Very reasonable chance this ends up all in potentially. This is a strange bet. I mean, I feel like no matter what this villain has, it should be a jam if they're betting. I don't think there should be any part of their range that's doing the half pot bet. Yeah, that was they just left like €15 on the table there. Unfortunately, I do not get to see what MK Whiskey has. Presumably it was an ace and probably a pretty reasonable one. They dual barreled, but yeah, like I think not jamming there for pot rather than go half pot instead just seems like giving up some pretty serious value. You can argue that you do get called, like occasionally the pot size bets will fold out the ace highs a little bit more frequently, but seems pretty unlikely that their range changes too much either way. MK Whiskey just going for it, looking to get their money straight back, setting up for a pot size jam on the turn, but Nathanielus goes for the fold on the flop. So, relatively uneventful session so far. Just the one pot to note with the ace-king where we got there on the turn and managed to take it down with a small third pot bet. We're up a little bit for the session, of course. I know we've rebought in this table for like a little bit. I'm not sure. It's like auto top up is on, so I'm not sure exactly how much, but we're definitely up some money. Not a massive amount, but hey, the night is young. We're gonna be playing this video will go on for around about 10 more minutes. Wow. This video is going to go on for about 10 more minutes, and then we will have a second video of this session, so a fourth part overall. And the fourth part is going to be a back-to-back recording, so this is just going to be the same group of players. We will just record it, cut off the video, kick it back off straight again, and just go for it. So MK Whiskey really taking their time with this decision. Go for the fold. Possibly on a little bit of tilt now, which would be very, very nice. Having a tilting player to your left is nowhere near as having them to your right, though, of course. 6-5, we're getting 5 to 1 on our money. We have a connected hand. Let's see a flop. Flop top pair with 6-5. We have the open ender to go along with it. Pretty good news all around. I'm just going to go ahead and straight up check raise here. We are going to follow through. We can potentially get a hand like 8s, 9s to fold, which would be great news. And we build a pot for when we do get there on the turn. So I think the chances of us having the best hand there are, I wouldn't go so far as to say slim, but I think, you know, he's going to have a better hand than us more often than not there. So as I said, if we are getting those hands like kind of 7s, 8s, 9s to fold, that is just fantastic news for us. And it's it puts him in a really tough spot with exactly those kinds of hands. I guess occasionally he can have flush draws, don't seem particularly likely. Maybe some ace high floats, but again, that doesn't seem particularly likely. But hey, we'll take it. And obviously when we do check raise there, we can have all of the sets. Some flop straights, some 2 pairs. It was just a min open, and there was a flatter as well, so you know there was a. We're gonna have a really wide range there all round, and that board we will have a very reasonable number of combos that have hit it very, very strongly, including the one we had with the top pair and open ender is a very strong hit. MK Whiskey is really just donating to. I just saw ace king there. I did not see what a villain had here or how big the pot was, but I saw some money, and this chip count has definitely gone up a little bit more. So I mean, it doesn't matter how good a mindset you have. If you just consistently lose pot after pot to the same player, it's very difficult to not let it affect you a little bit at least. 4 or 5 offsuit, we're just going to let go. Very little to note on the 25-0 game. It's been pretty straightforward. A lot of folding, not that much else so far. Which is that's okay. You know, poker is a grind. You're not just going to pick up, you know, you're not going to pick up the aces, the kings every single hand or anything close to it. There is, you know, you have to just grind it out sometimes. So the 2 players on the 15-0 game getting involved yet again. But no fireworks this time. 9-10 offsuit, there's a lot of scenarios where we're going to defend here. MK Whiskey goes for the limp, which is interesting. I don't think we've seen him limp so far this session. I will be happy to take a check here. See a free flop, that's fine by me. We check dealer, and go heads up. And I mean, I don't envision him limping a huge amount of ace-x. But, you know, I mean, if we're getting up to shenanigans with this hand, it means we're getting up to shenanigans with every hand, basically. Which I don't think is a particularly good strategy, so... Like, I don't really believe this bet, but as I said, you know, we can be somewhat selective. I think I will go for the check raise there quite liberally, but I would like a minimum of a gut shot before we do it, and even at that, we're still going to be, you know, pretty loosey-goosey. Just going to bet small here, deny some equity. If the FNC decides to go for the raise after checking back, I'm not convinced I'm going to believe them after they raised us with the pocket sevens hand. King is not a particularly fantastic card. He can absolutely just call with some king highs, which are, you know, almost the nut high card. Or the not high card, obviously, depending on his kicker is what I meant to say. So he can, I mean, the problem here is that a lot of his draws probably would have bet the flop with. The 3 doesn't bring in any realistic draws. I mean, I guess like 4 or 5 or something like that, but we block that. Oh, never mind. I think I was going to be doing that anyway, but I was just thinking about it a little bit more. We're going to check back our second pair here versus a player that we perceive to be potentially on tilt. Try to encourage some shenanigans. Queen is not a particularly great card for us, and neither is the ace. This run out is just gone from bad to worse. And yeah, we're just going to fold. Definitely played that one pretty weak. If the queen didn't roll off, we would have bet turn. Probably still could have considered betting turn. We could have considered betting flop, both of which I don't disagree with. Checking seems reasonable though. And then yeah, the river is whatever. He can bluff us off pretty liberally there, but you know, it's a disastrous run out for us. We have 4th pair, and there's 4 to a straight on the board as well. So a lot of hands that beat us. Any card above a 10. Den goes for the 3-bet. We're just going to fold our a7. Not much we can do there. Going to be wrapping up this portion of the video relatively soon. Just another couple of hands. As I say always at the end of my videos, any questions, queries, comments, anything at all like that, feel free to fire them at me in the comment section on YouTube or Poker VIP, wherever you happen to be watching this. I'll do my best to get back to them within a reasonable time frame. If you are adding in any questions, do please leave a timestamp, or at least an approximate timestamp. If you're questioning any hands, it always helps if I can go back and have a look at them, rather than you just asking why I did something with a specific hand or something to that effect. And obviously it's not feasible for me to go trolling through the video if any questions does come through. This looked like it was just a limped pot. I think it was 4-handed and there's 190 in there, so yeah, it must have been limped. 5-4 offsuit, going to be a fold. The FNC was a short stack when they brought in. I'm pretty sure. I think they came in with a tenner, so they're up a little bit at this table. Some of it definitely my money. We've given a little bit over that way, but not a huge amount. We've been, as I said, we've done very little at this table so far. We just haven't been in any decent situations. 8 queen suited in the blinds, definitely going to be defending here, pretty high frequency of the time. Assuming no raise comes in here, we will absolutely be. When there is a raise, we absolutely won't be. Just one of those spots where the action before us dictates our options. And with that, we are going to wrap up this portion of the video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, any questions, queries, comments, fire them at me, and we will be back for part 4 as well. So if you've been enjoying the series, make sure to check it out. It's going to be a direct continuation on from here, so you will get to see the game flow continue over the course of an hour as I get to grips with the various players at the table. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys and girls, and I'll chat to you now in a moment.